Sing unto Yahweh, let all the earth call. Bless his name and show forth his salvation from day to day. Declare his glory amongst the...
Subscribe and check out our playlist and our videos on our channel, as well as our shorts. We go into a deep dive into things, and a lot of you guys are not watching the whole entire videos. I don't know if it's because you don't understand, and if that's the case, let me know in the comments, or if it's just because you don't agree with it. And even if you don't agree with it, still let me know in the comments what you don't agree with and why, etc. But subscribe to the channel, check out our videos. We'll be having more videos uploaded. We have a bunch of shorts uploaded as well that dives into the language. And then again, we have our playlist and textual criticisms, the shorts, the Shabbat teachings, and destroying Christ in the Old Testaments, false doctrines, our lessons, and our book readings. Okay, we read out different books. All right, so subscribe to the channel, make sure you share, and let's start correcting some of these erroneous doctrines that are in Israel. Okay, Shalom Israel, brother right here. I have another video for you guys today. Been having this in the archive. Been meaning to do it. This is a couple of weeks old. It was before the Passover. I was commenting on this sister's post about she's pretty much kind of, I guess, calling out Old Testament only brothers. And so I commented, and I guess this brother felt some kind of way. And so he came in and said that he wanted to debate Deuteronomy 32, and says that his ministry teaches the language. I went and checked some of it out, and not so much. But anyway, so he says you make comments toward my sister that the New Testament is fake, as well as our original tongue. He is mentioned through the Torah, which is bullshit. You can go through all my videos and see that I disprove all of that. Also, there has been translation errors where the Messiah is deliberately removed. I would suggest you look deeper into your position. That's BS. And I'm going to prove it. And so he asked me what Bible could he use, and I just said, please parse chapter and verse and rendering, and I give him the verse right there. Right? He says that he's not fluent, however his brothers are. And I went and checked out the video of them, but however, I can read. It takes me time. Just leaving work, you posted the prayer, Deuteronomy 6 and 4. Yes, I did. Posted the Shema. I believe, however, since you are fluent, good. Now, I will see how familiar with manuscripts. This is a translation error. Tell me what the verse says. And he's talking about where it says the sons of God and all this and that. He's trying to say that they've removed Christ out of the old manuscripts, which is BS. I'm going to prove that today. All right. So he says, I started parsing. He's like, you don't need to parse it for me, but whatever. I started parsing, as you can see, showing the brother that I'm not one of the ones who just be talking. Okay. So he says it again. He's not fluent, and he wants to debate about that. Okay. And I try to tell him right there that, you know what I'm saying, that it's showing that it, you know, what it's showing. All right. So I said, let me guess, it's supposedly a prophecy of Christ. He said, that's not the only error. That's why I asked you. And he said, after the Passover. Well, we've been corresponding with email and whatever. So he, you know, because he was talking about his brothers them, and what's going to happen is that it's going to be me against him and his brothers them, because I'm going to go into the language, and they're going to have to feel the need to assist him. Okay. Now, this is a YouTube channel. I went and checked out, gave him mine, whatnot. His position is the New Testament is the truth. A lot of errors, just like the Old Testament. I agree with the language we teach in our ministry. However, my brother and wife are more advanced than me. However, I study translation errors in ancient manuscripts. In that verse, I'm going to show you undisputable facts that it was errors and deliberately translated to hide the Messiah. That's bullshit. And he's going to reference Hebrews 1 and 6. Okay? So I told him again, bro, this is what I said. I said I was literate in it. Okay? Now, we're going to go to Deuteronomy 32 and verse 43. What does it say? Rejoice, O ye nations, with his people, for he will avenge the blood of his servants, and will render the vengeance of his adversaries, and will be merciful unto his land and to his people. Right? When you go into the Hebrew, what does it say? Deuteronomy 32 and 43. Rejoice, Gentiles, with his people. For the blood of his servants he will avenge, and vengeance render to his adversaries, and he will provide atonement for his land and his people. Right? Okay. Now, I want to pull up some manuscripts and some things. Okay. Let me see here. First, we're going to go right here with the Galaic Aramaic. Okay. In the Samarian Pentateuch, Hebrews 1 and 6 is not there. Okay. Now you see, Galilean Aramaic, the term Galilean Aramaic refers to Aramaic vernacular and literary language of the Jews of Palestine during a Amorite period, 200 to 500 CE. This dialect forms together with the closely related Christian, Palestinian, and Samarian Aramaic dialects, the western branch of Middle Aramaic. During the Amorite period, this dialect was employed as a literary language either alone or together with Rabbinic Hebrew in the following compositions. Okay, the Palestinian of Jerusalem Talmud, the Palestinian Agidah, the Midrash, and the Bereshit Rabbah, the Yikra Rabbah, and Peshitta, and the Pesikra. A small number of inscriptions found mainly in ancient synagogues of the Greek poetry. All previous studies of the phonology and morphology of Galilean Aramaic was suspended by the publication G. Dowd's Grammatique des Judaïs Palestiniens, whatever that word is. Dowman's aim was to publish a description of what he termed Jewish Palestinian Aramaic, under which he subsumed, in addition to the sources mentioned above, also the Targum of the Onkelos type, Targum Onkelos to the Pentateuch, and Targum Jonathan to the prophets. Dowman's work was one of the highest standard for its time. However, since no critical editions of the relevant text were available then, he had to base himself nearly entirely on the first printed editions. His use of manuscripts was limited to those available to him in the British Museum, especially for the Targumic material. All right, so now I have two right here. Okay, we have the New Testament right here, written in the Paleo, right, and then we have it here in the Galaic Aramaic. Verse 6, and again he bringeth in the first begotten into the world. He saith, and let the angels of God worship him. Right? And the messengers that did not keep their first estate but left their station, he has reserved it in chains, unknown under darkness to the judgment of the great day. All right, so that verse is really referring to the angels, right? And so when we go over here, we have another book, right? Aramaic book, and I'll post the on the community tab. I'll post the books with the book titles, etc. What does it say here? Nations, O glidden, his people. Although the formulation of the Hebrew is a little obscure, the sense seems to be something like nations congratulate God's people as he exacts vengeance from their enemies and restores them to their place in their land. What does it say? What does it say right here? Rejoice, Gentiles, with his people, for the blood of his servants. Right? That's all of Israel, and all the things that we've been through in the history of the world, he will avenge, right? And render to his adversaries. And he will provide atonement for his land and his people. This has nothing to do with Christ, right? Nothing to do with Christ. Now, let's go back. Hold on, wrong one. Let's go back. Congratulate God's people as he exacts vengeance from their enemies and restores them to their place in their land. The Qumran text, again approximately confirming the Septuagint, has a partly divergent reading. Gladden, O heavens, his people, and let all divine beings bow before him. For his son's blood he will avenge, and vengeance turn back on his foe. And his enemies he will requite, and purge his people's soil. There are grounds for thinking this reading might be more authentic than the Masoretic text. The invocation of the heaven at the end of the poem will correspond nearly to the apostrophe to the heavens at the beginning, whereas turning to the nations at the end is a little odd, as in the probable substitution of sons of Israel for sundry gods. So they substituted sundry gods for sons of Israel in verse 8, right? So let's go to verse 8. What does verse 8 say in the Hebrew? When the Most High divided the inheritance to the nations, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set boundaries of the peoples according to the numbers of the sons of God, right? Of the sons of God. So he numbers the nations according to the angels. That's why he said that I have not given you I gave the nations to other gods to worship, but you not so. That's exactly why he said that. Matter of fact, where's the verse? I forget what verse it is. Deuteronomy, matter of fact, it's in the same chapter. Deuteronomy 32 and 8. See, what does it say? In Deuteronomy 32, 8, 9, what does it say? That's not exactly what I'm looking for, but well, like you said, for the Lord's portion is his people. And that's what he's telling you right then and there, right? He's telling you right then and there that he divided the nations up, right? He divided the nations up according to the sons of God, according to the sons to the angels, whatnot. That's why each nation has their own God. That's why it says in Daniel that the prince of Israel was fighting with the prince of Persia, the angel of Persia, right? Because he divided the nations up according to the sons to the sons, right? So each nation has its angel or quote unquote deity that it worships. But like he says in verse 9, for the Lord's portion, for the Most High, he that causes to exist portion is his Jacob, the lot of his inheritance. That's why he says, thou shalt not have no other God. That's why he says, so in verse 12, so the Lord alone did lead him, and there was no strange God with him. Why? Because he had gave them over to the other nations, because he had divided them up divided the people up according to the number of those. And it goes back to Genesis 1 and 27 when he says the consultorium of the divine one said, let us make man in our image. Okay. So let's go back to here. As in the probable substitution of sons of Israel for sundry gods in verse 8. Later editors, for reasons of monotheistic rigor, might have been impelled to delete the reference that follows to all divine beings called Elohim, bowing before the triumphant Lord. Finally, his people's soil, Admat Amon, in the construct state, makes better idiomatic sense, or idiom sense that his soil, his people, Adamutu Amon, in seeming opposition. All right. Now we're going to go over here to another manuscript. Okay. And what does this say? It says, nations rejoice in his people. It's in brackets. For he will avenge his servants, plural, right? His servants' blood and return vengeance on his enemies and cover his soil with his people, right? This is what he's saying and what he's going to do. He's going to avenge all his enemies and he's going to bring Israel back into the land. All right. Now let's go to some more. The BHS footnotes, right? What does it say in the BHS footnotes? The LXX Septuagint has heavens rather than the nations rejoicing, and as in all the angels. So really, when it's telling you right here in the Septuagint, it's saying rejoice heavens, not rejoice nations. Rejoice heavens, not rejoice nations. Right? Rejoice, O heavens, not nations. The KJV says nations. The Hebrew says Gentiles. Okay, but the Septuagint, the Hebrew that they have says Gentiles, but the Septuagint says nations. I mean, Septuagint says heavens. Right? That's what it says, heavens. It says heavens, and adds in all the angels. Worship him, and all the sons of God strengthen themselves in him. This might imply another instance of the demythologizing of this text by a later hand. Right? See also comment on verse 8, sons of gods. So he has to go in and show verse 8 to where they took Christ out of there too, and where it's not referring to the angels as well. All right. So he had whatever he does, whatever he's trying to show, whatever manuscripts, he has to also go into verse 8 and show that it's saying that they took Christ out of there as well. Because in verse 8 it's showing the angels. And this verse is implying to verse 8. The meaning of this final phrase is very uncertain. ONK and RSG have the onkelos have he will atone for his land and his people. Rashi sees this as recapitulation of the point that the Most High's portion of land is the nation. Verse 9. The poet here seems to have been deliberately vague to suggest that both the land and the nation need atonement. Literary covering. All the blood Israel spilled requires their exile to atone before they can return to the land. The blood sullied the land itself, and spilled blood requires literally covering, as in Leviticus chapter 17, 13, and 14. So let's get Leviticus chapter 13. Okay, let's get Leviticus chapter 13. And 14. Let's see here. What did it say? Leviticus chapter 13. Leviticus chapter 13, verses 13 and 14. The priest shall consider and behold, if the leprosy have been covered all his flesh, he shall pronounce him clean. That hath the plague, it has turned white, he is clean. But the raw flesh, I think they might have got it wrong. They might have got it wrong. They're just talking about leprosy. Oh, Leviticus 17. I'm tripping. I wonder. I got it wrong. Leviticus 17, 13, and 14. All right. And whatsoever man there be of the children of Israel, or strangers that sojourn among you, which hunteth and catcheth any beast or fowl that may be eaten, he shall even pour out the blood thereof and cover it with dust. For it is the life of all flesh, the blood of it is the life thereof. Therefore I said unto the children of Israel, you shall eat the blood of no manner of flesh, for the life of all flesh is the blood thereof. Whosoever eateth it shall be cut off. And so, like it says, that you must atone for it, you must pour the blood out. Okay, you must pour the blood out in the land and cover it with dust. Okay, that is what it is referring to. So the blood sullied the land itself, and spilled blood requires literal covering, as in Leviticus chapter 17, verses 13 through 14. The ambiguity implies that when a purified Israel returns, there will be the soil that covers the blood-soaked land. Something that Isaiah depicts poetically in Isaiah 49, 18 through 21, as the returning Israel bursts out across the land. Now let's get that. Isaiah 49, verses 18 through 21. Isaiah 49. Let's get Isaiah 49. (18 through 21). Let's get it. What does he say in 18 through 21? Lift up thine eyes round about, and behold, all these gather themselves together and come to thee. As I live, saith the Lord, thou shalt surely clothe thee with them all, with them all, as with an ornament, and bind them on thee as a bride doeth. For thy waste and thy desolate places and the land of thy destruction shall even now be too narrow by reason of the inhabitants. And they that swallow thee up shall be far away. The children which thou shalt have, after thou hast lost the other, shall say again in thy ears, thy place is too strait for me. Give place to me that I may dwell. Then shalt thou say in thine heart, who hath begotten me these, seeing that I have lost my children and am desolate, a captive and removing to and fro? And who hath brought up these? Behold, I was left alone. These were they had been. Okay. All right. So back to this right here. Right. So that's what it's saying. This is why he says it implies that the ambiguity implies that when a purified Israel returns, that we will be the soil that covers the blood-soaked land. Something that Isaiah depicts poetically in Isaiah 49, 8 through 21, which we just read, as the returning Israel bursts out across the land, spreading the land by having children, being fruitful, and multiplying. Okay? However, as it reads, it is clear that the Most High is being established as Israel's blood redeemer. The Most High is being, not Christ. Okay? They did not take out Christ in that. Okay? They did not take it out. There was no way. So that's another thing that these brothers are talking about, saying that it was taken out, Deuteronomy was taken out, etc. Okay, no, it says Haraninu goyim amoki dam abedar yakwam wanikwam yasib. Okay, that is and it also says that the angels right here. Okay, Malakim or Elohim, you know what I'm saying? Elohim also refers to the divine beings and angels. All right. So I hope I was able to edify you guys today, and leave a comment below and let me know what you guys think. Go and check out all the rest of our videos. We will be uploading more videos and more teachings and more textual criticisms and things here more as I get more with my moray and more with our scholars and things that we are in contact with. I will bring you more information and more videos. Okay, it's time to correct the lies, Israel. Stop worshiping the idol. Okay, and time to come back to the Most High alone. The Deuteronomy 6 and 4, what you're supposed to be saying every day. Okay, it tells you the Most High is one, not a trinity, not duality. Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, Echad, one. Okay, until the next video, Yisrael, Shel Yehi, Yisrael Yam Mambarak. May Israel have a blessed or increased day. Shalom, shalom.
Sing unto Yahweh a new song. Sing unto Yahweh, let all the earth call. Bless his name and show forth his salvation from day to day. Declare his glory amongst the heathens and wonder amongst the people. Every morning and evening I give him praise. The false gods are vain by the Most High. The skies was made, nothing new under the sun. Yeah, these times don't change. I guide my steps, direct and devise my ways. Honor and majesty my Yah retain. Beauty is in the sanctuary amongst the saints. Give Yah glory and strength. Search far and wide across the seven seas for a sign, but never seen a God alive like Yah, my Elohim.